Recently, I've been going through weightlifting belts because I lost mine, and I want to share with you my experiences, the different belts that I used, and the pros and cons of going through this ordeal of finding a weight belt that works for me. So understand that being someone like myself, maybe you can relate. You go to the gym, and if you train hard, oftentimes by the end of your workout, you're mentally and physically drained. And for me, that's been the time when I've been more likely to forget about something, lose it, leave it, and there's been so much gear and apparel that I've left at the gym. So the latest victim was my weightlifting belt, which I've had for about 10 years. And it was a very simple, chic weightlifting belt. The feature about it was that it was Velcro, and it allowed me to cinch it as tight as I wanted. Because after using a powerlifting belt that I used to share with my partner, I realized that, like, hey, like it's sometimes you needed two people to get yourself in. Other times I needed to hold on to some piece of equipment to hold it tight and cinch myself in to get the belt on. And I wasn't looking for that. What I really realized that I wanted to focus on was having a belt that fit me just right because it's important to me. I get OCD about preparing for my lifts, and I don't want to be thinking about how good I feel about in the belt, how supported and strong I feel. So the Velcro really allowed me to get it exactly how I wanted, even though I acknowledge that you're losing something with that style of belt versus a leather powerlifting belt. The leather is just stronger and it offers different and I would say better support. The Velcro feature was really helpful to me, and for the weight that I was pushing, it was going to get the job done. I wasn't really working on PRing anymore, so I just needed the weight belt to keep me safe, and it did that. Up until a few years ago, I'd noticed that a couple times that the Velcro did bust open on a few tough sets where I was really working, but it didn't have any issue as far as affecting my safety. I was totally fine on all those sets, but I don't want to be thinking about that. So ultimately, when I lost the belt, I realized that, well, let's focus on maybe getting something different, something newer, and something that will be for me right now. Because where I'm at right now on my journey, I've basically gotten back to where I was before, nearly, at my peak, right? And what I want to do is take it up a notch. I want to get back into lifting heavy and see if that can take me to another level or just get almost exactly to where I was, 100%. So I've been training a little bit heavier since the new year, and I've been working myself up to it. And when I got this new belt maybe 2 months ago. After about 6 weeks, I noticed that, beyond it helping me, it was falling apart. So this is the belt that I got. I got this Rogue belt. It's leather, 10 millimeter. I think it retails for about 50, 60, $70. And I got it off of Facebook Market for $12. It's right down the street. And I figured, well, shit, you're looking for a belt. $12, can't beat that. And for me, I'm frugal. I like to test things out. That would allow me to experiment with using this belt. Would I like it? Would it be quality? And what I found was for a while I was satisfied. I thought that it was doing the job. And then 6 weeks into it, I realized that the ring or the hole that I use was damaged. And it was just tearing open. And that just means that, you're losing some of that tension. It's not in that measurement exactly anymore. And to combat that, I was like, well, I can still use it if I just put a sweatshirt on, and I'll just use the next hole. And that works provided you are fine with being super hot from wearing a sweatshirt when you're doing something really intense like squatting or, say, a deadlift, exercises that really make you sweat pretty quick. So I realized, like, geez, like, I can't keep doing this. Imagine when it's summer, I'm going to keep wearing a fucking sweatshirt. Like, no. So I knew that wasn't a long term fix. So I started looking into weightlifting belts again. And that's fine. I mean, a $12 investment. I learned something. I used it. It served its purpose. And part of its purpose is basically to keep me in the game, keep me safe, and also protect me from my lifestyle. Like sure, lifting, squats, deadlifts, they can make your back tight, sore, and just, weaker, for a while before as you're recovering. But for me, something that I really do that really beats up my back the most, uh, training or not, is sitting down. That is like the hardest thing that I can do for my body. And, when I started training again and then, still sitting, I was like, fuck, this is really, I got to do something. Let's keep on taking care of our back. So a weightlifting belt is something that I really see as an investment. So what I did was I decided, let's take it up a notch. This 10 millimeter wasn't good enough. This Rogue one wasn't good enough. So how much of a difference do I need to really experience? Do I need to get, a $300 weightlifting belt? I hope not, because, if I were to get that belt, well, to find out if I like it, if it works for me, I have to buy it. And so just like, nah, I don't even know if it'll fit me right. Again, my concern is, can I cinch it in just the right position? Oftentimes these holes, like these holes are somewhat far apart from me. For me, I like having a little bit more variety. I was really, remember, I'm coming from having that Velcro belt where I could cinch it exactly how I wanted. So the belt that I was focusing on were between two, maybe a prong belt with an adjustable lever, or a belt with, the regular sort of belt style. And I focused on this feature. This is the Pioneer A7 that I got, but it has not the adjustable lever, but it has the holes, and these are much more uh, closer distance, which allows me to, well, find the right one that works for me. And even though they're, they have two sort of levels, there's only one whatever this is, whatever you call it. And so you just fit it in. It's not a big deal for it to go up or down into the tightest one. It works just fine. I thought about that. Thought it might be an issue, but it wasn't. But this Pioneer A7 is 13 millimeter. It's also, I believe, certified for powerlifting competitions. Not that I plan to compete, but it's good to have that sort of quality, that sort of just that style belt. My concern was 13 millimeters going to be too thick for me. So I've used belts before where you put them around your waist and you do a hard set, and you do enough hard sets. Eventually, sometimes you feel a little bit of chafing, scraping against your body, and you don't want to have uncomfortable leather, fucking up your stomach. For me, I mark up easy too, so I would take off my shirt and I'd have, red marks and tightness or whatever marks from the belt on me. So I'm looking to just take care of my body. Does it feel good around my waist if I would just wear a t-shirt? And so far, yeah, that's not an issue. This feels very comfortable. And this belt, I believe it retails for about $170. I got it for 50. I got it for 50 off of Facebook Market. Guy shipped it to me, and paid a little bit for shipping. So paid like 15 bucks for him to ship it to me. But I'm very satisfied with this belt. This belt is, style wise, I'll be real. I like black. I like not trying to have to wear something that's got like all sorts of different colors. I don't want it to have red on it. I don't want it to have a design. I don't want it to have all sorts of colors or stuff that's emblems or whatever. I don't want that. Give me something black that'll match with most of the shit that I'm wearing, because as it is, I've got blue reband knee sleeves. I got powerlifting shoes that are yellow and gray. I'm wearing enough colors when it's, say, a leg day. I don't want to bust out more different colors just because I'm rocking a belt, right? So the black belt, regular design, just very plain black, works for me. All right. Other than that, I would say one thing that I experienced, funny thing is, I realized today that when you're doing a tough set, you know, if you're like me, if you've got the belt wrapped up around just how you wanted, if you were to get this belt or maybe a belt similar to it, what I found was that you don't just pull it straight open. It took me a second. I was like, I want to get the sucker off. I want to breathe. But when you pull it off, pull it up at an angle or pull it down at an angle, a way it kind of stretches out the belt. You'll see what I'm talking about, and it pops out so much faster and easier. Which is when you're trying to immediately recapture your breath and your mental focus and clarity. You want to make sure that you do that as soon as possible. So something that I figured out today while I was doing a longer day. I did 10 sets of squats today, but that's something that you can help out, that you can take advantage of. Otherwise, look, would I recommend paying $300 for a weight belt? Would I recommend paying 150? Would I recommend paying 50? I would say it's worth it to get a great belt, because what I'm investing in is my body, my health, my ability to keep on going to the gym, my ability to not feel like shit the next time that I go to the gym because I didn't have enough support and I used so much, I expected so much of my back, it's still recovering. So this helps me out, whether I'm lifting for a few more reps or for lower reps or higher reps. If the weight is enough, I like having a little bit of support. And I'll say one thing that I'm giving myself permission to, because I don't give a fuck, is that I don't have to just wear the belt for low reps. I wear it for higher reps at times too, because I need support during those high reps. Eventually, if I do enough of those, you want a little bit of support to just make sure you're in the groove and that you're channeling all that energy the right way, and that it's not being lost through translation along the way up from the ground through your body all the way through the bar. So I'm happy with this belt. Would I pay $300 for it? No, but it doesn't cost $300. This belt costs, I believe, $170 is what the guy paid for it. And for $170, there is a big difference between this belt and this belt. This Rogue, which 10 millimeter Rogue belt, which is 10 millimeters thick versus 13. And not only is there a difference in thickness, but there's a difference in the quality of the leather. This one, I feel like, if this were some sort of infomercial for cutting with a knife or something, I feel like this one would cut much more easy than this one, beyond it just being thinner. It's a different sort of leather. It's not as strong to me. I mean, you could just tell it by picking it up and holding it. This is a little bit heavier, and despite the 3 millimeters, that's not the difference. Just the 3 millimeters. It's the quality of the leather that makes a big difference. And again, it's comfortable, on the inside. This is more suede, which I appreciate. But I'm a fan of this belt, and we'll see how it goes, but I expect that this belt will not fall apart. I don't expect the openings to break like this one did. So we'll see. But I want to share that with you. If you have experiences with these belts or things to share with other people, throw that in the comments. I might learn something. Other people might learn something. But for me, I didn't want to go with a prong belt. I didn't want to go with a full powerlifting belt that cost $300 from SBD, especially when I wasn't quite sure that it would even fit me right. I'm loving this feature. This is the best feature that I've found. Is having a belt like this that has the different grooves or the different holes staggered really closely together. This works for me, and at the drop of a hat, I can put it on, I can take it off, I can have a sweatshirt on, I can have a t-shirt on, I can fluctuate in weight, I can add a couple pounds, I can lose a couple pounds, and it won't matter. I'll always be able to find the right hole to feel the sort of security, snugness, and abdominal pressure that support me during a lift. So take that as you may. And that's been my experience with all of these belts. Remember, when you're at the gym, try to remember, don't lose your shit like I did, because you have to replace it. But when you do replace a belt, maybe invest in some of this experimentation like I did. You don't always have to buy something at full retail. I got 2 belts basically brand new. This one was basically used for a month. This one was basically used for a month as well. And it's a weightlifting belt. Who gives a fuck? We're guys. Seriously, they came pretty much brand new, and I paid a fraction of what they cost. I paid maybe 25% of what these belts cost. So I want to share with you, like, where there's a will, there's a way. It's not necessarily about your resources, but your resourcefulness. And I know a lot of people, you can't spend that $300, or you don't want to, or you don't feel comfortable, or there'll be hell to pay if you have to share with somebody that you just bought a $300 weightlifting belt. But it is an investment in yourself, in your health, in you being able to continue training safely with power, with less soreness, and being prepared, and just injury prevention. It is something very smart to do for yourself. But would I say that you should pay more? Yeah. I would say, if you're serious, if you really want to take care of your back and you're feeling any sort of concern for yourself, be smart and look what works for you. Personally, I took the advice and recommendations to not just go find the cheapest belt off of Amazon, even though it might say that it does certain things. I went with a name that I recognized, a name that I was researching, And I'm very happy with this Pioneer A7. You can look it up yourself, but I'm really happy with it. So you all take care, stay strong, get after it in the gym.